Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Exec Board meeting for November. Nice to see so many people. Anybody would think that there's another meeting after this, that this isn't the Exec Board meeting. Any apologies for absence, Mel, please?
Thank you. We have apologies from Councillors Birch and Richard Morris, and the following non-members, Councillors Hartley, Homer and Herdman.
Thank you, Mel. Do we have any declarations of interest? No, I see none. So if we go to the minutes of the previous meeting on pages 5 to 16, can I have a proposer, please?
I'll propose those.
Thank you. And a seconder? Thank you. Everybody in agreement?
That's carried.
Thank you. So, leaders' announcements in Richard's absence. I'd like to put on record my thanks and that of the whole board for the exceptional work since last Thursday when we went on to flood alert. And that is thanks to Jem Teal, Tim Lewis and all of the drainage team who are always on hand day and night. Jem and Tim were actually emailing me at 11:30 at night last Thursday answering my request for sandbags to go to Sedgeborough. And I know that they were working around the clock. So we are grateful to have such dedicated, knowledgeable and committed officers who go above and beyond always. So thank you to them all. Riverside Shopping Centre, we are nearing the end of negotiations to bring the Riverside Shopping Centre back into public ownership. We expect these to be successfully concluded over the next coming weeks and will share more details and the indicative timetable for redevelopment with the public in the new year. Once in public ownership, this will bring transformational change for Evesham, but not only for the town centre, but for the surrounding areas and villages. SWDPR, the council meeting in December, as you know, has been moved back a week to the 17th of December to allow for the main modifications to the SWDPR to be agreed ahead of public consultation, which will commence in January for adoption in March 2026. The Raven, we are aware that there continues to be a lot of local interest in the Raven. We continue to engage with stakeholders and the owners to try and assist with suitable solutions going forward. However, our priority is protecting the public. Accordingly, further to advice from our building control team, we have strengthened the scaffolding by installing a buttress. This will be monitored on a regular basis. In addition, the cordon Harris fencing has been repaired and we have asked the contractor to ensure this is maintained in the future. Both of these actions have been undertaken for public safety reasons and with the owner's knowledge. In the background, we have engaged a conservation specialist to advise and assist with options for formal action against the owner, and we continue to pursue the unpaid invoice. The frequently asked questions on our website are regularly reviewed and kept updated with any news and progress. I'm pleased to announce that Wychavon are supporting people with dementia in our community by installing dementia-friendly exit signage in all our toilets. And that was following successful installation in Droitwich. And this measure will give support to those with dementia and their families and carers. And we know members of this council that feel that very personally. So I'm very pleased for us to be doing that. And finally, I'm pleased and relieved in equal measure to report that Richard continues to make a great recovery. He has started a 6-week cardiac rehab programme and expects to make a phased return. And I'm sure you will all join me in wishing him well. Mel, do we have any questions from the public?
No, we have no questions.
Thank you. So we move to item 6, which is the budget, which I will pass to Councillor Stokes.
Thank you, Deputy Leader. Yes, so used to saying it. We're always used to seeing Richard here. Okay, so at our previous executive board, we agreed the budget parameters and a budget timetable. I now sort of look to update you on the actual budget process to date. The budget overview and scrutiny have formed and have met twice already. Yesterday's meeting examined the people element of the budget, covering swimming pools to council tax collection. The panel presented some extremely challenging questions and received some well-formulated and helpful responses. The next overview and scrutiny budget is on the 2nd of December, where questions relating to the environment element of our strategy will be discussed. So looking forward to going to that meeting. I now bring your attention to the report and the recommendations on page 17. And essentially there are 3 tranches of recommendations. The 2.1, which is a recommendation to the board, 2.2, which will ultimately be a recommendation to council, and 2.3, which is to the audit committee, the budget committee, the executive board, and overview and scrutiny. So everybody on that particular one. But it is a progress going forward. So whilst formally proposing those, I will actually ask for a seconder in just a moment. But the most significant thing I bring your attention to is the additional £5 million that we're actually putting into your residents' pockets, into your residents and into your community. So we've always said that the budget must be accurate. And as far as I'm aware, the budget for 25-26 has only been a variation ultimately due to the additional funds received through the investment income, which I'll come on to in the Treasury statement. But if we now look at our estimated budget for 26-27, which is going through a due diligence process with the Budget Scrutiny Committee, they are examining each and every line, and it's actually £5 million over and above the previous year. So I look at this as a particularly good year for our residents to be able to look at the community benefit that this budget will actually bring. It will actually releases the reserves that are in certain elements, and it's bringing those reserves forwards for our service users. So well done to our officers for putting in a sensible budget. But we will keep on top of it, and it's an absolute privilege to be able to deliver some of those schemes for our residents. So I now look for a seconder, please.
Thank you, Councillor Stokes. I have pleasure in seconding the recommendations. I think a good year is a good phrase to use, isn't it? Whereas when we look at in the light of things that are happening and moving forward with local government reorganisation, it gives us an opportunity to compare ourselves to other councils. And I think really a good year can be said for residents of Wychavon every year, really, when you look at our budget compared to other local authorities. If you look at the council tax as it is, if you look at all the fantastic things that we're able to do and that we're able to encompass within that budget, I think it is very much a very good year every year. This year, although, it is going to be different and special in some way, because if local government reorganisation goes ahead, it may be the last time or the second from last time that we will have free rein with our budget. And please be rest assured that the Executive Board will very much take that responsibility as seriously as it always does, but we will also be extremely mindful of the special nature of the time that we're going into to be able to leave a true Wychavon legacy. So I have pleasure in seconding the recommendation. All those in favour?
That's unanimous.
Thank you. We then move on to item 7, the mid-year Treasury Management Review. Back to Councillor Stokes, please.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Leader. As I mentioned earlier, we're in the budget for 25-26, the year that we're actually working in now. There was expected underspend of just about £1.5 million, which actually nets through to be the additional income received in the Treasury management. So I perceive the budget you're working with for 25-26 to be an accurate budget. I perceive that the 26-27 budget is based on actual facts and can move forward correctly. And so the Treasury management if you are sad enough and you have read 3.2, you will see that there are additional incomes, about 1.4 income from our treasury management and from our investments, which covers the budget benefit in this particular year. So happy to propose the recommendations on page 57. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stokes, and I'm more than happy to second those recommendations, and nothing really to add other than to, as always, thank our officers for all the work that they do, the extensive work that they do to bringing this to us and for us. So I second the recommendation. All those in favour?
That's unanimous.
Thank you. We move to item 8, and I pass over to Councillor Della.
Thank you, Deputy Leader. This report seeks approval for a pragmatic and consistent solution to one barrier to the delivery of affordable housing in Wychavon and elsewhere in the UK. The Designated Protected Area, or DPA, was designed 16 years ago to make sure that shared ownership properties are not lost to the open market in areas where they may not be easily replaced. It does this by placing restrictive leases on shared ownership properties in the area covered, which is a large majority of Wychavon outside of the main towns. Today, the DPA lease restrictions, although intended to have a positive impact, are outdated and unattractive to both residents and housing associations for various reasons set out in the paper. As a result, it is becoming more common that developers are unable to secure willing housing associations to take on affordable housing secured through the Section 106. Local authorities are able to waive the restrictions, but currently have no agreed approach to doing so in a consistent way. The result is stalled delivery of housing and an increasing number of units being converted to discount market sales, rather than the social rent and shared ownership. To overcome this, we propose the recommendation set out in the paper.
Thank you, Councillor Della. I think that a key point to bring out on this agenda item is this is a proactive piece of work that we are doing at Wychavon. Nobody has insisted that we do this, and this is thanks to our housing team and the planning team in conjunction. And this is to have really better outcomes, to make sure that we can actually provide the houses for the reason that they were really deemed for in the first place. But also, so the first thing is that it's proactive from us. But the second thing is, if you look about everything and all the things that link what we do at Wychavon surrounding housing and planning, what we actually do is we look to, for example, in our design code, we look to have exemplar design, but that creates a sense of place and a sense of community. And what we're actually doing by removing these barriers do actually encourage all of those things. They encourage for people to have that sense of place, that sense of pride, and encourage those communities to grow. So I think it's really key when you look into the crux of it. If you just look at the report, it looks very technical report, but it's important to think about the reason why we're doing it and how it's actually going to affect people, that ultimately people can then have their homes and they can commit to them and be proud of them and have that real sense of pride within there. So I'm extremely pleased that we've brought this and I have full pleasure in seconding it. All those in favour, please.
That's unanimous.
Thank you. We move to agenda item 9, which is the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, and that is an update to be noted. Is there anybody that wishes to speak to this item? Councillor Adams.
Thank you. Just wanted to make one or two remarks on this item on the agenda. As the Deputy Leader has said, this is for noting this evening. But I just wanted to bring home my understanding of this, that all funds have been allocated now. A lot of hard work has been put into this and they've all been allocated now. And the other thing is, the fact is the government have not indicated that this fund will come forward in the future. And on the back of that, I just want to say, if anybody has got some good ideas or whatever they want for the area that they represent, for goodness sake, come in and speak to our officers now, Don't leave it till 12 or 18 months' time, because there's a lot going on. I think you might have heard about what might be going on in a couple of years' time. Oh, certainly later this evening you'll hear. So please, 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 if there's anything in your areas that you want help, advice or funding for, please come in and see the officers. The last thing I want to say, and I've read through this last night, was the fact that the amount of work that's been put into this, these two funds, and into any funds that come forward. And certainly on Monday, we allocated over £100,000 in 106 monies. And there's a lot of money involved with this. This doesn't just happen with excellent officers here at Wychavon, and I play my thanks and the thanks of us all to Elspeth McQueen and also Sean Riley. But certainly Elspeth has worked tirelessly on that, and I'd like to mention her this morning. So, this evening rather. So don't forget, if you have any ideas, please go back to your parish council and town councils and ask them. Vic might not be thanking me for this, ask him, but don't leave it too late if you have any super ideas. We've done a lot over the last 6 or 7 years, you know, £5 million going through for community funding, and then this funding, a lot of things we brought about, but we can do more. We can do more. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. Is anybody else wish to speak to this item? Okay, thank you. So we've noted item 9. So we move on to agenda item number 10, which is the We Are Wychavon performance report on pages 97 and 140, which is again for noting. And who would like to speak to this item? Councillor Della, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Leader. I just want to highlight and put on record my thanks again to our staff for another quarter of incredible work. It's not just the promises, which are progressing nicely, but it's the business as usual, the stuff we don't see, the numbers on a bit of paper, which often refer to real people. That remains high, and it's only half the story because many of our services are shared services. So we're only seeing half the picture of what they're actually delivering. They're delivering quality service while the quantity of work remains high. But I would like to add to my thanks also to David and Steph in the Empty Homes team for delivering in Q3 6 empty homes being brought back to life via their help. I think that's a really good achievement. We are progressing nicely along with our empty homes work. Thank you, Deputy Leader.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak to this? No. Beg your pardon. Beg your pardon, Councillor Middleborough.
I'd just like to say something about an area we don't really talk about very often, and the detail is on the legal and governance, which is on page 111, just to show the amount of work that our legal staff and then the staff in other departments who are supporting them in relation to freedom of information requests. And I think it's we're in a good position because we're turning those around within the time limits that's set, and given, as we know, the legal work that perhaps will be coming, that Councillor Adams referred to, I hope we can keep doing that. So it shows we're turning it round, and it's also showing how small a number of complaints we have about the services, and that is about the performance of this council serving the public well.
Thank you, Councillor Middleborough. And I think really the title of this performance report says everything. We are Wychavon. And that really, everything that's within there and within that performance, we are all very mindful of. But to actually call it We Are Wychavon, that says everything about it, doesn't it? It encompasses everything that touches our residents, and it encompasses all the, not services that we provide, but it's everything that we do for the residents, and we are Wychavon. So we'll note that report, thank you. And I believe that then concludes the Executive Board meeting. However, I would like to encourage members, it's lovely to see such a packed chamber for the Executive Board, so I would encourage you to stick with the same numbers for the next Executive Board. Thank you very much.